Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Council on Future Conflict. Today we're talking. Well, let's be honest. There's a lot of stuff out there. It's not what you'd call the most highly tuned topics that we've ever had, but we're talking domestic disruption and trade malpractice. So, like 5 stories that have something to do with domestic politics and disruption and just chicanery, and then trade malpractice. So. The interesting thing about this domestic stuff is that at first I was kind of I was listening to my inner Joe who was telling me we shouldn't just talk about politics. This is not a politics show. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. But then I started kind of reading the subtext. And Joe, I don't know. We were talking about these before the show starts. There's some really subtle bullshit going on in what should just be normal political news on, in America, in the domestic American thing. Like these, there are some serious undermining influences that are somebody wants a fucking civil war to happen is what I'm coming to the conclusion of. I mean, maybe I've had that conclusion for a while, but it's just becoming way more obvious.
Yes. We've been saying this for years, and
I know. I'm just saying, these stories. It's like they're not even hiding it anymore.
They ask me a question. You got to let me answer it. Yes, it does seem that way, and it seems to be getting worse. And they come up with the most ludicrous reasons for it, like Trump could say, "Hey, you know what? We need to move these dogs from one shelter to another animal shelter," and they'll tell you Donald Trump is trying to kill all of the puppies in America and must be stopped no matter what. And the hyperbole is crazy. I was glad to see that their latest attempt completely and utterly backfired when they released all these Epstein documents that literally just proved what everyone's been saying all along, that Donald Trump's the one person in the world who was opposed to Jeffrey Epstein. So,
yeah, it's not only are they clearly just trying to undermine him randomly, but ultimately they proved in their latest thing with this whole Epstein, like what was it, an email drop or something like that they're not even competent at it. It's like, do you remember when the Democrats were just like, oh, they're so fucking good at just getting under our skin? But now it's like, it's not even the B team anymore. It's like the D team is what we're dealing with here.
I see a question in the chat about the IED on the Vegas Strip, and ironically, it's not even in our odds and ends. So, good point. If you want to talk about future conflict, if you're following my locals, you would have known about this bombing, but it literally has vanished off of all of the news because they don't want you to know about it. And it's 2 men, all in black, rolled up to a restaurant just off the Las Vegas Strip, planted an IED, and took off, and the bomb went off, but it didn't actually harm anyone.
Yeah.
And the Las Vegas Metro PD has the nerve to say there's no ongoing threat to the public. Really? 2 bombers are on the loose. There's no threat to the public? Okay. Unless, of course, they were federal agents who did it on purpose. But that can't possibly be true.
Yeah, that's that's the kind of stuff, like it's so nonsensical, Joe. I just don't know how to even respond to it, outside of credulity.
Stuart Rhodes has reappeared and is trying to get more people to join the Oath Keepers. And you might think, well, that's just a natural outgrowth of where we are as a society. No, it isn't, because there's a lot of talk about Antifa as a terrorist organization. So if you're in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, what do you do at that point? Do you keep on? Do you target Antifa, who are your friends, or do you roll out good old informant Stuart Rhodes and have him recruit a whole bunch more people to say a bunch of dumb stuff into the microphone, so that you can then make some more arrests and say, "See, it's those Trump people."
Dim Trumpers. There's a lot of dim this and dim that's going on in that kind of world of political commentary. So you got to be careful. Joe, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm doing great today because, as I related to you beforehand, I have this great story to tell. So, Alan, who runs the Veterans Charity here, is 87 years old, and he struggles getting around. Anyone who's been here knows that, right? He's having a tough time of it, and he doesn't really like where he's at in life because it's one thing to have been a warrior at one time, and now you can barely even move, right?
Yeah.
So he's got these couple rifles he was planning on hunting with, and he told me when he got here, he's like, "Man, I've been shooting low and to the right." And I said, "Well, let's make sure your scopes are good first." So he shoots a couple rounds, and I started adjusting him, and he gets real frustrated. He's like, "See, I just can't do it. I can't do it." I'm like, "Hold on, let's adjust your scopes so that they at least the bullet hits where you aim. Let's do that." We get that done, and he hits a couple of bullseyes, and he's feeling pretty happy. But then he still goes, "Yeah, but if anybody else shoots those rifles, it's going to be way off. It's just me." I said, "Well, hold on a second. Let's find out. Let's prove that without a doubt right now." So I got out my rifle, and I fired one and hit it right in the bullseye. And I said, "So that's my shot. Here's the rifle. I want you to shoot that other dot up there with my rifle, and we'll see if it's you or the gun." He goes, "Oh, it's going to be me." And he fires the shot. And while it is a little bit to the right, he did hit the bullseye. And you should have seen this old man, this sweet old man who gives so much for others. When you saw him smile like that, I felt great because I gave him something that he really needed, right? That confidence that he can still pull that trigger and hit what he wants to hit. And he always says, "I need to be able to defend Linda." And he realized he still can. And I think that's cool. And let me just tell everyone this. If you've got old vets, spend time with them. And more importantly, take them to the range. Have a great time with them, doing what they used to do, and empower them.
Joe, do you remember that video is going around several months ago? And it's probably not a new video. It's probably an older video, but of the Vietnam vet who carried an M60 in Vietnam, getting to shoot an M60 again on the range.
Yeah.
And you could just see his eyes light up. It's like
it took 15 years off of his life just doing it, man.
Well, it took 15 years off his face. Maybe it didn't send him to an earlier grave, but yeah, 100%, man. It's just doing stuff like that with guys who, I mean, let's be honest, Joe. I mean, a lot of people, they think like, well, that's not who I am anymore. But in reality, when you are that young man and you face danger, that's a part of you, no matter what, for the rest of your life. Like so many people have found out, they become mild mannered in their older age, and then all of a sudden they're thrust into a survival situation, and they're right back in that mindset. I mean, yeah, perishable skills and all that, but there's something to be said for once your brain finds an equilibrium in stressful situations and life or death situations, you may forget about that, but it's never gone. It's somewhere in that head,
You're right, and for the rest of us who are of a certain age, he broke out a folding stock Ruger Mini 14, and it brought back all of the A-Team vibes for me, right? Remember the A-Team, and they had their folding stock Ruger Mini 14s? It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Watcher, how you doing, brother?
Tired, but good, man. Good. Only got about 2 hours last night because kids are sick again. Woo! But doing all right.
That sucks. Well, I mean, it's part of growing up, I guess.
Part of parenting. Yep.
That's all right. Sorry, it's the deal you signed up for.
Yup. So yeah, apart from that, doing good, man.
Oh, by the way, speaking of our friends and Watcher, Watcher's going to get a visit today. But Jim made some bacon. And let me just tell you guys, if Jim hands you a package of bacon that he made, accept it with a glad heart because it's delicious. And outstanding, Jim, if you're watching, is great bacon.
Speaking of Jim's, I caught Jim Satala's Jim Tells You show at my lunch break today. I pulled open YouTube. I was going to just kind of check out some reels or something like that for a few minutes before I went back into the office. And I saw that Jim was live, so I jumped in his chat and made some pithy comments, and then immediately jumped out. But I thought if Jim's up, I told him that if he is up, I think I saw him in the chat earlier. Yeah, that's him right there. What's up, bros? Jim, I sent you the link, so if you want to come in and chat, we're talking about domestic stuff. You don't have to be some kind of super duper international policy expert to talk about this stuff. One of the things one of the things that Jim does a good job of is he highlights a lot of really specific stories, watches the videos so you can get the news, and then he kind of picks it apart. And I like he's got the same kind of general ideas that we have about a lot of this domestic stuff. And he's an older guy like we are, so he's got some well-used miles under him. He's seen a thing or two. So, I think it's a good. So if you're not subscribed and watching, Jim tells you over. I think he's on YouTube is where I see him. I'm sure he's on Rumble as well. Definitely go and check him out. And Jim, if you're there. Like I said, in the DM on X is where I sent you the link. So if you want to jump in and chat with us, feel free. All right. Joe, I want to talk about another friend of ours real quick, or ex-friend, for that matter. Watcher, I don't know. You didn't say. I'm gonna have to share it with you again, aren't I? That link that I showed you earlier.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me do that. We've got Joe. You know how it is. You got to police people up, right? I mean, when you see somebody doing something dumb, you gotta.
I feel like I'm being set up. I really do. But anyway, go ahead.
Well,
Oh yeah, yeah. We gotta help this poor girl.
So, this is a gal that both me and Joe have been on with Molly. Yeah, recently we had Molly and Daniela on, and they gave us some pretty good insight in how how our better halves look at a lot of the things that we're going through and some of these topics as women. And I thought that they were both, great ladies. And I just recently did their program after the show on Monday. I was up till 4 a.m. Doing their show. And so I thought everything was copacetic. I thought everything was great, Joe. I thought I had an understanding with these two ladies. Well, evidently, 50% of that duo, chose violence yesterday.
A basic tenet of counterintelligence is that you can only be betrayed by people that you trust.
That's exactly right.
And then here we are. Fitty, my girl, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so she says we made some seriously good pizza tonight. Now, so the first one looks all right. I mean, it's cheese didn't melt as good, so maybe you got to choose a different cheese, but that's okay, no big deal. But she said pepperoni, extra cheese, and Hawaiian. I'm like, Hawaiian? What's that? And then I see this fucking monstrosity that you've got shared on the screen, and I'm just like, what in the holy hell is this? And then of course I've got to hit my boy up. I said, W, do we know this woman? And Joe says she's dead to me. And then like a pouting gif here, she says, well, that explains why I never had Molly and I back on the show. Well, if you guys want to come back on and want to wake up early in the morning and come back on the show, just let us know. I mean,
but it's going to require a public apology for posting.
A public apology. That's exactly, which is what Joe says. And hunch the dirty roofer for $5. You're exactly right. Straight to jail. There is no probation.
Straight to jail. Yeah. But seriously, then she said that she was going to bring one, or she was going to make me have one when she comes out here in Montana. And I'm like, listen, woman, I love Watcher to death, and I threatened his wife over pineapple pizza going in my car. So we're not taking that. But man, that poor woman, I don't know what to do.
I don't. Yeah, but it's like you think you know somebody, Joe. That's all I'm saying.
If she's watching today, watch for DM for me because we need to do the gear Christmas thing, and we need to do it like right now. So absolutely. Those who don't know, a couple years ago, Demp and 50 there, and I organized a gear swap for people who needed gear but didn't have it. Guys on Twitter could nominate a friend who needed gear but couldn't really afford it and didn't want to ask for it. So we would just send them gear. So we may do that again this summer. It's this Christmas. That's the plan.
Let's see. Low-key LARP just gifted us 5 subs. Thank you, brother. Thank you kindly, sir. We appreciate your support of the channel. All right. Are we anything else you guys want to cover before we jump into this long list of stuff? No. All right. I got you. Let's jump in with the this first one. I don't know that this is a big surprise to me. Maybe you know what the big surprise is? That California actually fucking did anything about it. But it's only because they were getting ready to have a fucking federal anal probe is the reason why they did it, I think. California cancels 17,000 CDLs following federal audit. The California Department of Motor Vehicles was canceled 17,000 non-domiciled commercial driver's license following federal audit at the state CDL program, according to the U.S. Department of Transportation. 17,000 truck drivers seems like a lot of truck drivers to me.
Hey, how many years have I been telling everybody, go to truck stops and look around and you'll be surprised. I've been saying this for like 4 years now, right? I was shocked the number of Indian truck drivers that I have been seeing, and it only got more and more. Just the word non-domiciled CDL, that should go away out of our vernacular. That should never be a thing, right? You're either an American citizen and a CDL driver or not.
Well, the only two things that I can think that should have any applicability towards a CDL is if you drive in that state, a state could mandate that if you're going to be a commercial driver in that state, that you have a license for that state, or if you live in that state, you should have a commercial driver's license for that state. But that's about it. And if you're going to be like non-domiciled, what they don't mean like a fucking homeless people. That should be like Joe is a truck driver from Kentucky, as all good truck drivers are, and he's going to drive in California. So he does not live in California. Do you remember, Joe, back in like the 70s, back when BJ McKay and his best friend Bear were the hotness on TV? First, I know you watched that show. I know you.
Yeah, but let me just tell you, I know where you're going with this. And me and Matt drove all the way across North Carolina, and there are several witnesses in the chat singing, "We got a big old convoy rocking through the night" over the radio, and we had a good time with it.
Back then, do you remember how like trucks used to have like all kind like a whole placard of license tags on them? Like you had to have a license tag for every state that you operated that truck in commercially. And I always thought that was really funny, but at some point, I guess in the 80s, they did away with that. I mean, it makes sense with the whole commerce clause of the Constitution, everything, interstate commerce and whatnot, and reciprocity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe we got to go back to something like that for these driver's license. Like you literally have to have a driver's license from the state in order to, operate in that state. I don't know. All right. Let's go back to the story here and see if there's anything more to this. I mean, it seems like that's it. But in a press statement on Wednesday, DOT asserted that state officials admitted to illegally issuing CDLs. Now, who do you think is going to be held accountable, Joe?
Nobody.
And this is in quote here in the story. To dangerous foreign drivers. and that DMV sent notices to license holders that their licenses no longer meet federal requirements and will expire in 60 days. Oh, so they have 60 days to continue to kill people. After weeks of claiming they did nothing wrong, Gavin Newsom in California were caught red-handed, said the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. This is just the tip of the iceberg. My team will continue to force California to prove that they have removed every illegal immigrant from behind the wheel of semi-trucks and school buses. Fucking school buses, Joe.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh, Jesus Christ. It gets worse and worse.
I mean, the days of Smokey and the Bear are gone, right? And now it's more like Little Rajesh. And
I was going to say Punjabi and the Bear.
Patrol. What's funny is, I'll be honest, I credit that era of CBs and truckers and all that with my radio habit now, right? Those are the first radios I ever messed with, and here we are now.
Yeah, I remember that too. And you had to have like a call sign if you're going to get on the CB. And
yep, my dad was WKRD, and then some weird numbers. I don't know.
See,
I still remember.
CB, you didn't have to have like an official like call sign like that. You could literally just make up like a gamer tag kind of call sign. I think back in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to get a call sign on GMRS, but some of us never do.
It's shocking. All right.
I believe that the FCC and game laws should all be given the same amount of respect.
Yeah. Let's see. Even more concerning is the fact that that for 3 of the transactions, the DMV was unable to provide documentation showing that it validated driver's license, lawful present documents before issuing non-domiciled CDLs. Good Lord. A non-domiciled CDL or commercial learner permit issued by the state revealed that 26% of extrapolees extrapolates to roughly 16,000 failed to comply with federal requirements. Consequently, based on documentation provided, it appears the DMV issued a non-domiciled driver's license to 3 drivers without validating lawful presence. Yeah, man, this is just, I think it's going to get fucking worse and worse before it gets better, if I'm honest. But, I mean, we should never be surprised by fucking California.
I see that one of my odds and ends was removed.
Which one?
The I guess we never put it in the fight in Papua New Guinea. I'm gonna find it.
I didn't see that one.
I'm gonna find it right now. Carry on.
All right. Well, we'll continue on here. Bondi, acting U.S. Attorney Alina Habba confronted property destroyed. Let's see. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday said an individual allegedly tried to confront acting U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, and destroyed property. Last night, an individual attempted to confront one of our U.S. attorneys, she said, before confirming that the U.S. attorney was Habba. This person then allegedly destroyed property in her office and then fled the scene. I mean, this is fucking nuts. How do you go into a U.S. attorney's office, like destroy shit, and then get the fuck out of there?
Was there not a single U.S. Marshal in the building?
That's exactly what I'm wondering. I mean, any violence or threat of violence against federal officer will not be tolerated, period. This is unfortunately becoming a trend as radicals continue to attack law enforcement agents around the country. Bondi did not provide details about the incident. A description of the suspect was not provided. Hey, did you guys hear something about, reading this reminded me of this, but I didn't see it anywhere in my feed here in the last 6 hours or so. Did you guys hear anything about them trying to arrest federal officers, like while they were like state officials or state police or city police in some place trying to arrest?
Several have said they were going to, but none have actually attempted it because it would end up with them getting shot.
Well, unless they just back down, like basically say, all right, whatever, and it's not worth it. But yeah, that's exactly how because as soon as you pull a gun on a federal officer, he's just going to pull his gun out and start shooting.
Well, the commentary in coming out of Illinois is very similar to the commentary that came out of South Carolina at another point in our history, right?
Yeah.
The federal government has no authority here, and we're going to do this. We'll see. That goes back to that whole. Some people are trying very hard to start a civil war. And when you have the state police and the border patrol in an open gunfight, that's what's going to happen.
I'm just doing a quick search of my feed to see if maybe I missed something. I don't really think so. I'm not seeing anything. All right. Anyway, I was just reminded of that. Sorry. Pinochet's helicopter tours for $2 says when you know you can get away with it and won't be punished by the leftist captured judicial system, you're willing to do crazy things. Yeah, like attack a U.S. attorney office.
Absolutely. When there are no consequences for your actions, you can do whatever you want.
Well, we're in the situation where somebody gets attacked by Antifa, and the person getting attacked gets arrested.
Did you get the other one by Pinochet about the unions?
I did not. I did not see that one. So Pinochet's helicopters for $2 says, how did the unions allow this to happen? Are non-domiciled drivers paying union dues? That's a good question. I think that some companies are Teamster companies and some are not. So it's kind of like freelance drivers. I don't know that they have to be in the union.
Yeah, unions don't really. There's really no. The unions have no input on what the state of California does as far as issuing licenses. Sure, they're a big lobby, but the unions don't get a vote in whether or not they issue non-domiciled CDLs.
By the way, Joe, I did see this video at one point, but I was not aware that it was a one that you had sent.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah. All right. Watch. Just so you know, I added that one in there at number 4. So if you don't have it open, you can be prepared for that.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Joe, you got to talk about irony. This is like sweet, sweet irony. Breaking: Gazans who left Gaza are stuck on a plane because South African authorities refuse to let them in their country. Yes, that's the same South Africa that blames Israel for genocide. It doesn't want Gazans in their country.
They're like, well, we didn't mean we actually wanted you to come here.
You know that you're unwanted when South Africa is like, listen, fam, you're a little too much for us.
Here's what's funny. They're saying, please help us. If I paid for and sent a fuel truck to that plane to give them the fuel to go home, they'd be like, no, not like that. It would solve your problem. You wouldn't be stuck at the airport in South Africa. I know. Send them to Uganda.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, there's all these kind of people in the chat, in the comments saying, oh, send them to an Arab country. Oh, that's right. They don't want them either. I wonder why. And it's like, and then there's a graphic here. It says Palestinians. I can't imagine why. It says they entered Lebanon and caused a civil war. They entered Jordan in an attempt to overthrow the king. They entered Syria and killed the Syrian people and dug tunnels. They entered Egypt and killed the Egyptian soldiers and slaughtered them in the Sinai Desert. They entered Kuwait for work, and when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, they stood with Saddam Hussein instead of Kuwait. They entered Iraq and became suicide bombers, exploding in popular markets of Baghdad. They entered Europe as refugees, and today they are demonstrating the streets and waging chaos. And they entered Israel to work, and they did what we witnessed on October 7th. Yeah, listen, if you're so fucking hated that not even South Africa will take you, you got fucking problems. I'm curious what our good friend K9 Reaper thinks about this. He probably.
Hey, the last time the Gazans went to Entebbe, it didn't work out so well for them. But somehow Mamdani came out of there. Mamdani. I wonder if his dad is somehow affiliated with the original folks who went there.
I mean, his dad's Muslim Brotherhood, isn't he?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if his dad is some sort of a descendant or is a Entebbe hijacker.
I don't know. That's a good question. All right. What do we got? Okay, yeah. So here we go. This is the Papua New Guinea story, this next one. Joe, you're going to have to narrate on this one for me.
Well, there's just been sort of street battles between two tribes in Papua New Guinea. And it's just funny because we're all talking about ARs and AKs, and homeboys are out here using the same longbow that New Guinean tribesmen have been using for about, 1,500 years. So
I have to stop you real quick, and I have to say, Chad, I'm gonna let you guess what kind of music they decided to put over the top of this, I want to see the guesses in the chat for a couple seconds, and then I'm gonna turn it on and risk the copyright strike. I think it's worth it.
If you just played it. How gangsta guys throw the pistol. These guys are jumping up and throwing the arrows. Watch them.
Well, look at this guy that's just run across the screen, right? He had one of these native axes in his hand,
But watch this. Oh, he's going to jump as he shoots it.
You're here just in time. Guess what kind of music they're playing in the background of this video here?
No.
You'd think,
There goes the jump.
No. But it's actually.
Here you go. Oh.
Just keep your head or you'll be finished.
Scarface. Awesome.
Open up the limit.
He even edited it so that with cracks.
Reach the top, but still you gotta learn how to keep it.
They should have put. It should have been either Gangster's Paradise or Urban Cowboy. I mean, it's just they were playing Urban Indians.
I'm sorry, because whoever edited this knows exactly what they did, and they're proud of it. Just this moment.
Well, it's like when you put the bass drop in our video, in the opening video, you drop the car and then they had the ram, when.
Let me point out some significance here, though. Australia had been responsible for policing Papua for a very long time, and they have recently stopped pulling themselves back to a more internal thing. And this is what happens.
Now, were they just fighting over who's going to get Joe Biden's uncle's bones?
No, they were very clearly fighting over this photocopy center.
Jim, how you doing, brother? I'm glad you could make it. You stay up pretty late for your show, so I was just
Well, I do, and then I have to get up and take care of two grandkids in the morning. So that's what I had to get them all situated and give them their stuff and get them put them in front of the TV. All right, watch. So if at any time one comes running in, I'm gonna have to go bloop.
That's fair. That's fair. How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
The channel is growing. I'm noticing.
It is. It's doing good. I'm shocked. It's actually people actually enjoy listening to some idiot talk.
I've been surprised at that for I don't know how long.
I mean, I think my ideas are great, but
look, I'll be honest. I would much rather get shot than get hit with one of them ridiculously long arrows.
Yeah. I got tons of bacteria on them. Don't they dip them in shit or something like that? Or
I think that's just a natural outgrowth of being from Papua.
Oh.
I think everything's kind of covered in a film of it.
It's just got a sheen,
thin layer. Yeah.
I was happy to never have gone to not Baghdad, but Kabul, because Kabul, in all the measured cities in the world, Kabul had the highest amount of particulate fecal material of any city in the world.
There's a whole briefing about that.
Yeah.
So happy
I think New Delhi has might have a.
You'd think, but in fact, it doesn't. So, Jim, what have you been doing on your show lately? How's your the format that you do? I mean, just to kind of clue the chat in if they're not tracking, is you play story. It like whereas I'll read a story or whatever, you'll play a video from like Fox News or something like that, and you'll pause it and comment and
I do that. I also do like clips from like ground. I have a ground news subscription, so I'll go through ground news and I pull up articles, different articles for stuff, and always try to get at least 3 sources for something because But then again, a lot of times you notice it's the same source.
That's
the like copy it.
American media. 5 different sources confirmed. No, 5 different sources all heard the same story from
the same guy. Yeah, exactly.
That's not multiple sources. It's very tough.
Fun new official name for that, gentleman. Cytogenesis.
What's too is they don't even tell you lots of times. It doesn't say like this is taken from Reuters or this is taken from the AP. So you're reading it and it's like this is exactly the same, and they'll have the same typos, the same like error, and it's like, wait, this is exactly the same story. They just lifted it.
Yeah, I think that the media we used to have in the 40s and 50s would be ashamed of the media we have today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the work ethic, people's work ethic is out the window, and forget about journalism. And maybe journalism never had it.
Jay Clark has spotted the method for telling who is the king in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, that is how we know.
Yeah. All right.
Hold on.
Lost court.
I have to give props to somebody first, real quick. I'm sorry. I totally have neglected to do this. First of all, the person who it is will know what this means, this sound. That's the white monster you sent me. But second of all, I have to show this patch to all of you because Reverend Hazmat sent this to me. And it says, pure of heart, dumb of ass. And it's in Rhodesian brushstroke. And I just felt that he needed props for sending me this patch. And he did some little artwork inside the package that I will show later when I go grab it. But anyway, thanks, Matt.
So Lost Core 23. Okay, so I got I just sent Watcher the link, and so Scott sent you a link on X. It's a fundraising raffle for the foundation that supports kids with CFC, Council of Future Conflict. No. That's the genetic syndrome that his son has. So I want to put Watcher, can you drop that link in the chat? And if you guys are interested in supporting this, if you go to you could probably read more about it. And if you have questions about it, ask Lost Core. He could probably tell you all about it. I don't know much about it. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw CFC, I thought it was something about the show, and then I went back and I looked at our chat history, and I was like, oh, I got it now.
Well, if it's kids under 18 who like to watch our show, and they call it CFC syndrome.
That's right. That's right.
Terrible thing.
God, I wish there was something like that. Scott, how do all these kids find your show?
Yeah, the last time we showed the show to someone under 18, she said, "People actually watch you too."
People watch that. Oh my God. All right. So there's the link in the chat. So give that a look and support it if you are able. All right. Let us move on. Let me close some of this stuff out. Oh boy. All right. And the last one, sharing a X post by our good buddy Brushbeater. Wild naval battle on Lake Chad between ISIS West Africa and Boko Haram. It's gotta be.
Round, water.
So I'm not seeing anybody get hit, Joe.
I'm not seeing any hits. I'm not seeing any. But I must support my maritime brethren in the Coast Guard and say these ships are dangerously overloaded, and then I don't see a single PFD.
That's true. That's true. Though I do see some mighty fine sock caps that are keeping their noggins warm.
You want to know how you know that these are folks in Africa and not the U.S.? Because they're in a boat and on the water. Anyway.
Do you think they can swim?
No, not even a little.
This is the opening day of duck season down here in the south.
I wonder who won.
Hold on. No, I saw something worthy.
I saw it too. Is it the guy with the RPG round with no RPG launcher?
No. Watch this, gentleman.
He banging himself on the head with that?
He put it fired it above his head inside. He did the Slav squat. Yeah.
Without a
berm or barrier.
wall.
Yeah.
Right.
Afghani squat is standing up over the car, and an Afghani squat modified is down below the car.
Well, I'm just gonna say that
Look at him clearing that stoppage. I'm so proud.
I wonder if he won the battle of Lake Chad. But here we're gonna have an informal poll in the chat. Put a 1 if you think the Papua battle was better, or a 2 if you think the Lake Chad battle was better. So
well, I gotta feel like in order to have a good representation, Joe, we gotta have one more in there. Give me a second.
Yeah, the New Guineans are winning way out ahead of the others already.
I've got another People's Defense Forces firefight for you guys for your perusal, gentlemen.
I'm just curious how
veteran, and you're already voting for it.
I'm just curious how this vote would have gone if we had not included the 80s power ballad.
So this is you guys have seen the guys in the back of the dump truck. Well, this is them doing dismounted work. You know, it's the old rice paddy fire across the rice paddy deal. I feel like it's literally the exact same guy every time we're watching the video of. What's nice of it,
those little bumps on the front and back of their rifle, you know, the rear sight and the front sight, they never seem to use them.
Well, Joe, I was reminded of the I got a boo-boo on my hand. I was reminded of the pop-up targets when I watched this. He basically popped up with the grass, shot, and then popped back down. And I was like, that's just like a pop-up range. And, you know, so it's got to be the way it was in Vietnam, you know.
You see the way he was holding that rifle? That's how come his hand got cut. That charging handle's reciprocating, so...
Yeah, reciprocating charging handle.
That'll catch you.
That'll reach out and grab you. I love how he's got an AK with a 203 on it.
I know, right? And that's probably the slowest mag change in the history of AK dumb I've ever seen.
I don't know that I've ever seen that. Is a fucking dirty, rusty gun. Is what that is.
Why are we on a knee?
Still works though.
I'm gonna have to say though, Joe. I think that the 203 AK drip is pretty high.
It's pretty cyberpunk, but it's also pretty cool, right?
Anyway, so this is our. I guess this guy's decided to do a mid-show dance.
And he's got his Palestinian cafe on too.
Oh.
I thought that's where they were going.
I thought you was going to shoot the guy surrendering.
I really thought he was going to blast him.
I thought so too.
I don't think it's over yet, gents.
Yeah.
Like, you let him get closer?
He doesn't look like what you'd call a cop or government forces. Like, these guys, I hate to say it, I guess they did. They did ace him.
I guess they did.
Either that or that's his buddy.
I reaffirm my statement. Don't surrender to third world forces. It's really dumb.
Yep.
We're going to mortar some rounds in.
So that, Joe, that's that Franken SKS again.
Yeah.
Remember
That is. I noticed that the hand guards it's slightly different. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so of the 3 firefights, and yes, I consider the arrow fight a firefight. Gentlemen, what do we go with? What, Joe? Let's just go around the horn. Joe, which one do you feel had the most, chutzpah?
PNG boys. They're using arrows, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
The music was much better.
Yeah, music was better. Right. We did have a dance here in this last one, mid firefight.
We did. But he was somewhat Palestinian looking, might not.
He may have been dancing, but did he take it to the limit? I don't think he did.
Did they say hello to his little friend?
Say hello to my little. Well, he did have a 203 in the last video, so I mean that's very Scarface.
No, that does count for some extra points.
That's true. All right. Okay, gentlemen, let us move on. Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com?
Sure. You know what? We've got our winter schedule up at least through most of February, and I can say this since there's no one else in the house right now. There's also a rumor that February in North Carolina will go Fieldcraft, Scout, Recce, Community Security Ops, because everyone on that side of the country has been asking for Community Security Ops course. So that's potential. But for right now, I've got Winter Survival coming up next month on the 13th and 14th. Then in January, we're going to run Winter Fieldcraft and
Yep, go ahead.
Combatives weekend. And then in February, I'm going to run Winter Survival again. So we've got some good classes going. I've got folks registered for Winter Survival and Combatives already. So come out and join us, and let's have fun, man. Come take a class.
Joe, do we got CFC kids?
Yes,
we got a kid on CFC. That's we got a young demographic. We got young fans. We're hip. We're with it. Hello, fellow child.
You gonna watch Cars? All right.
I have unmuted you, Jim.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you. Go watch your Cars. Come on.
No.
I'll be right back.
Oh.
I want to know more about the show that's going on in the background. I want to check.
I know, right?
There's lions and dancing. Hey, listen, it's more fun in the cold over there on the Twitter chat. It is more fun in the cold. But listen, you realize that cold is a state of mind. Learn how to operate in the cold. You're no longer worried about the cold so much. It actually becomes kind of fun.
The key to the cold is just to stay busy.
Yeah.
Having to pull security in the cold, now that sucks.
That does suck, but that's what the bear suits are for, or what are the happy suits? That's what those are for.
But I will say this, Joe. I will say this, that I would rather pull security in 30-degree weather than 40-degree weather.
Yes, because 40-degree just gets miserable.
Especially
30
when
it's know the threat, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why we also never wear Gore-Tex while moving, right, in the winter, because then you sweat and you become miserable. It sucks.
Yes, it does. All right. All right. So check out the courses that he's got coming up. And speaking of courses, let me talk a little bit about our other sponsor, brushbeater.store. Let's see. All right. So tonight we're unpacking domestic troubles boiling over in our cities and escalating trade wars, reshaping global lines from supply chain snarls to street level strife. The pressure's on. Enter our sponsor, Brushbeater Store, led by NC Scout, aka Matt. with training and gear to weather the economic storm and to hold down the home front. When tariffs tighten and tension flares at home, Brushbeater's RTO course provides secure comms to keep your network solid, coordinating through disruptions or disturbances. Push further with the advanced RTO course, honing signal skills, intel, electronic warfare, to outmaneuver trade spies or agitators. The Tactical Combat Casualty Care course equips you to handle injuries quick, from warehouse brawls to protest fallout. For spot-on targeting in uncertain times, Kyber Optics MDO delivers close emitter red dot with shake awake, 50,000 hour battery life, crucial for defending assets or assets in chaos. Let's see. Fortify your position at Brushbeater's Yanceyville, North Carolina training facility, or browse brushbeater.store/collection/training or collection/optics. Use code CFC10 for 5% off courses, optics, medic kits, or gear. Orders over $100 shipped for free. Big thanks to Matt, Brushbeater Store, for powering the Council on Future Conflicts. Visit brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and trade punches with preparation. Now back to the show. I tell you, man, Matt's Brushbeater's getting bigger and bigger, and he's getting more and more, interesting stuff. And I'm hearing interesting things about future developments, and I can't wait to see it. It's almost like when he tops it, he has to go to the next level. It's almost like he's got this thing for excelling and growth. It's like it's exciting to see. All right. Joe, what are you doing? What are you reading there, Joe?
I was responding to someone about the organizer of the July 24th to the 26th event at Camp Ponderosa. He wanted to know what county we're in for sales tax on tickets. Well, we're in Lake County, where there is no sales tax.
No sales tax. That's nice.
So I guess since you asked that question, we should actually mention that.
Yeah.
July 24th to 26th, we Mountain Readiness West right here at Camp Ponderosa.
That's
also
right.
Home of the CFC summer event this summer. So gonna be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come out here and do cartwheels with Scott. You can have pie with Watcher, and I'll just be sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking cigars.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can't ply you with some more of that good old fashioned soju.
Oh, hey, if you bring the Baja Blast and the soju, I will drink it. That is kind of how I roll. And I'm gonna be hanging out with the guys with the mule, because
I hear there is a new Baja Blast flavor, is what I heard. Now, I only know this through the internet, but I'm just saying. I don't know.
It's called Baja Blast Soju Slush, and
I mean, I don't know why not.
I do have a bottle of 15-year-old Redbreast here that Hunch left that we could perhaps dig into.
Yeah. All I know is that I probably won't have drank much since the last time I was there, so I'll probably be a cheap date when I do get there. So, all right. Domestic disruption. Let's jump into this. So I'll be honest with you. I saw this story right before I read literally the headline and the first paragraph, and I was like, "Yep, I want to talk about that." I don't know. Have you guys heard about this yet? I wanted to kind of poll you before. Okay, I wanted to see what you knew about it beforehand. What was your kind of take, Watcher? Because I guess this developed in the last.
I mostly saw this last night because Poso posted about it. So that's mostly what I know, is that they were hopeful it was going to happen last night. They thought that was the executive orders that were getting signed last night, but it was something completely different. Something I don't even remember, some charity thing for kids or something.
Hold on
yeah.
a second. Rowan Court, I thought you meant something entirely different at first, but
No, but he's right. It's a key lime pie.
yeah,
with
now
Baja
I
Blast.
do remember. I think somebody shared this with me, and I was just like, why would anybody do that?
Yeah, it doesn't look appealing. Anyhow, but yeah, my only reaction to this is, why are we still talking about this? Why was this not done? Why was this not done shortly after he took office?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to make some excuse because I like the guy, but ultimately, maybe he's not focused on the same shit that we are. I don't know. So let me just, the State Department labels four Antifa-linked cells as foreign terrorist organizations as fight against radicals left goes global. The Trump administration expanded its crackdown on far-left violent extremist networks Thursday as the State Department designated four far-left militant groups as special designated global terrorists and announced plans to formally add them to the FTO list next Thursday. Four radical left groups include Antifa Ost, also known as Antifa East or Hammer Band. Its German-based militant group, Antifa Ost, conducted numerous attacks against individuals it perceives as fascist or part of the right-wing scene in Germany between 2018 and 2023. It's accused of having conducted a series of attacks in Budapest in mid-February. On September 26, 2025, Hungary declared Antifa Ost to be a terrorist organization and added the group to its national anti-terrorism list.
Add a historical note to this.
Yeah.
Abwehr Ost was the Eastern Front of German intelligence during World War II. At the end of the war, Abwehr Ost served the Russians in an attempt to overthrow the Nazi regime. So, in all reality, their entire name ties all the way back to actual Nazis. So, it's pretty interesting.
Actual Nazis. Yeah, I mean, no surprise there. I mean, it's just a matter of divided loyalties. They were always on the same side. Ultimately, it's just a matter of like working together against those freedom lovers. It's kind of how that goes. All right. Let's see. The next one, informal anarchist federation or the International Revolutionary Front is a militant anarchist group that primarily operates in Italy with historical self-proclaimed affiliates across Europe, South America, and Asia. Let's see. Since 2003, they've claimed responsibility for threats of violence bombs and letter bombs against political economic institutions, including courthouses and other capitalist institutions. The next one is Armed Proletariat Justice. I mean, these sound like fucking like names out of a fucking like some sort of a bad novel. Armed Proletariat Justice is a Greek anarchist and anti-capitalist group that has attempted and conducted improvised explosive device attacks against Greek government targets. Revolutionary Class Self-Defense, another really terrible name, is a Greek anarchist group and anti-capitalist group. The group links its action to broader political and social issues and cites opposition to capitalist structures. Now, I guess let
me point something out here. The fallacy that these are all anarchists. Anarchists are not opposed to capitalism. Okay, first of all.
No, they're communists.
Anarchists don't have federations or join groups. I'm just throwing that out there. Right?
Yeah, these are communists. They're calling themselves anarchists. It's like
they use anarchists as cover.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, ultimately, anarchists generally tend to leave other people alone. They're kind of like, angry libertarians, right?
These guys go and hang out in Cuba an awful lot for anybody who doesn't like government.
Yeah, they spend an awful lot of time in Cuba. Yeah.
The interesting thing to me, and I think these four groups are specifically picked because they are the ones that are actually interfacing and linking with these these domestic groups. Now, Joe, let me ask you this: if you're an American, can the CIA listen to your phone calls if you're calling, say, Watcher, legally?
Technically, no.
Right. But as soon as Joe calls known international terrorist suspect overseas, what can they do then?
He doesn't have to be overseas. He just has to be a foreign national. He could be in New York.
Right. But that's like one of the ways to basically open up your.
If Joe does that, then they're listening
world.
to all your phone calls, Scott. They're listening to my phone calls now, and they're listening to Watchers too, and everybody else's because they get to do two hops.
The point is that like you don't even need the Patriot Act to do that. Like before, that was one of the things. The Patriot Act basically allowed them to do that inside America without the kind of the foreign connection. This is what FISA courts were always there for in the first place. It was like when actual domestic people interacted with internationals that were aligned or connected somehow to violent extremisms. And I think that's one of the kind of rationales behind this, because these groups specifically are linked to Antifa cells in the U.S. and they are communicating, or there's some sort of, and this will allow them to basically go all in with the CIA and the intelligence agencies.
The problem I have with the FISA courts being involved in that all is that when they were looking for judges to be on the FISA courts, they looked for judges who were interested in national security matters and all of that. And they should have done the opposite. Look for the most libertarian, most freedom loving judges, ones who are most opposed to surveillance, rather than the ones who are most likely to authorize it. They did a lot of judge shopping when they picked FISA court judges. It should have been the other way around. Skeptical judges.
I wonder how many of these groups were present at the May Day thing in Cuba that all the domestic Antifa people were at.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, so let me kind of jump in here. So then they got this big collage of American Antifa pictures. Let's see. Schmidt posted, I was proud to work with the administration to make it happen. Did I miss something here? Oh, yeah. Senator Eric Schmidt commented on the State Department's news release, saying it's a major step in our fight against Antifa terrorist network. I was proud to work with the administration to make it happen. This is a huge deal. Seems like Schmidt has made some enemies with FTOs after those comments. Today, the State Department announced that it's planned to designate. Let's see, that's just a re-announce of that announcement. Schmidt says Antifa is not an idea. This is correct. It is a sophisticated, violent terrorist movement, and its network extends far beyond our borders. As I've outlined at length in the past, Antifa violence we see on U.S. soil is driven by a global web of extremist groups. Americans should understand that these aren't isolated local gangs. They are chapters in the same transnational movement that fuels leftist violence from Atlanta to Athens. These militants are in regular communication with each other, coordinating and mobilizing across borders. Yeah, and this is the fact that they're announcing this makes me feel like there's definitely some stuff in the works.
This is bad news if you're an Antifa domestic, because it knows that you are about to be designated as a foreign terrorist too.
Yeah, that's right, and thus cornholed. That's the technical term. Let's see. I'm just kind of there's just a link to a bunch of these. U.S.-based Antifa-aligned cells have gained operational space and momentum over the past decade, aided indirectly by Democratic Party messaging, whether intentional or it is intentional, by the way. As a good journalist, I guess he has to say, alleged. Whether intentional or incidental remains the question. That has amplified Antifa's framing by sustaining a prolonged information war, portraying President Trump and MAGA movement as fascist, reinforcing that group's core justification, for escalation and violence. So yeah, let's look at this Western Lensman. If you go down, I think a little further, there's a Western Lensman that talks about the coordination piece. Yeah, keep going. Right there it is. Let's play this video. This just talks about the coordination.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like.
try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, said, "No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core."
Almost like
can I say that if Donald Trump was a fascist, none of those people would be able to say this in public.
Right.
They would all be on helicopters going for a ride.
Absolutely.
Who wants to take the devil's advocacy position real quick and just kind of argue for any kind of increase in authoritarianism under Trump?
No.
Increase in
That's up for
authoritarianism.
you, because you sometimes do. I want to point one thing out.
I don't.
Is that AOC is too stupid to even remember her script. You notice she froze in the middle.
Yeah.
And had to go look over and read her script, and then come back, and you could tell she was reading it. Anyway.
Yeah, Joe, like you and I have been critical of Trump, and we have, said there's a lot of things that we wanted Trump to do that he promised during the election that he hasn't really delivered on. And, there's a lot of those things. But one of those things hasn't been increased fascism, right? Or increased authoritarianism.
I don't know, though. There are a lot of people on our side, and I'm sorry, but you've said these same comments at some point that are okay with them using authoritarian tactics as long as it's against the left. And that's not true, because that pendulum will always swing, and every authoritarian tactic used against people you don't like will eventually be used against you.
Well, I guess my position is that if it's constitutional, I'm okay with them using it.
Was Lincoln an authoritarian?
Oh yeah, big time. He's probably the most insidious,
the worst there ever was. But I just say, be more like Lincoln. They loved Lincoln, so start arresting judges.
Jay Clark, Palantir. Palantir is the classic example.
I don't like the Palantir stuff. I don't think we should be outsourcing any of our security.
Somebody once told me, well, look they used all these flock cameras to catch so-and-so, this Antifa guy. Okay, that doesn't make flock cameras all right. They're still horribly unconstitutional and should not exist.
What cameras are you saying, Joe?
Flock traffic safety cameras that are all over the country.
Okay.
If you're not tracking, a bunch of techs broke those down recently and actually pulled apart what the cameras actually do, and calling them a traffic camera or even a license plate reader, which is what they're sold as, is so unbelievably inaccurate, it strains credulity.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Americans should not be surveilled in case they commit a crime. They should only be surveilled when they commit a crime.
What do you guys make of what Elon Musk said about just assigning a robot with every criminal to stop them from committing crimes?
I thought it was funny. I don't know how practical it is.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to say, the Fallout explosive collars are an idea.
I just don't know what the robot's supposed to do. If it's is the robot gonna like choke them or something, or like crap?
I don't know why it couldn't.
That's what I'm saying. You save a lot of money. Just the Fallout New Vegas explosive collars. You're all set.
Yeah, that's like what is it? Running Man? What?
Yeah,
it was much. Running Man. It's been with multiple movies. There was another one. It was the same. I can't remember. It was another one.
Yeah. So the word is flock. Is that what you're saying? Like a flock of seagulls?
Flock.
Yeah, flock camera.
And that's the entire purpose, right? A flock of cameras.
Yeah, it's AI driven camera analysis, and
I guess for me, I don't like the idea of being surveilled in public, but ultimately I know if I'm in a public place, I don't have an expectation of privacy the way I would.
But no, here's the question. Location. I agree with that. However, it's beyond that. They're tracking your move and keeping a database of it.
Yeah.
That's not privacy. That's surveillance.
Right. No, exactly right. If they track your data because you're in public,
And
not because you
the
did a
reason
crime.
why they get around the Constitution on this is because Flock is a private company, and the police department has to buy the information on you from it. That's still not right. So,
yeah. All right. Let's see. While the administration has pledged to dismantle violent left-wing networks, the fight cannot stop at Antifa. Broader dark money billionaire-funded NGO sphere has been driving a decades-long color revolution against MAGA and conspired against the White House to derail Trump's agenda at every turn. And of course, we've got this kind of listing: the Arabella Network, Buffett, Ford, Rockefeller. By the way, Soros is on that list too, but he's not even the biggest name on there. Billionaire number one, George Soros, he says. Conservative nonprofits have warned the administration about collateral damage a sweeping crackdown on NGOs could cause, but the reality is that if reforms don't come to nonprofit universe, the Marxist movement will continue to undermine the administration. I'll be honest with you. I think the key blow that the Trump administration did was to kind of dismantle the USAID network. Even if they completely reassemble that under the next administration, there's going to be so much visibility on that, and it will take time. This is something they set up over years and years and years, decades, right? So it's not something that once you take it apart, you can just rebuild it overnight. That being said, they will absolutely try to rebuild it overnight if they ever get power again.
yes.
All right. You know what? Hey, Watcher, can we go story number 4 in this segment? Let's do that one, and then we'll go back on schedule because that kind of dovetails nicely with what we were just talking about. Speaking of decades and decades of left-wing undermining and the USAID network, Mike Benz has got a post, and I thought this was a really good kind of prescient post. He says, a great example of how deep, extensive, and ancient the relationship between USAID and George Soros. Here is a Soros Foundation report from 1993 showing Soros had just signed a cooperative agreement with USAID to groom emerging leaders in key professional fields in the immediate post-war Cold War era in 5 newly liberated former Soviet satellite states: Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, Estonia, and Slovakia. The Soros Foundation, with USAID money, developed leaders and contacts on the ground in each country. So this newly groomed network of local leaders in public administration, business, and banking would all plug in with other USAID-funded projects, banks, chambers of Congress to ensure those newly democratic nations would only develop in ways the USAID network and by proxy the blob's political and commercial stakeholders through the Soros Foundation could control. I mean, talk about like laying the groundwork for the shit that we're going through now. This is more than 30 years ago. I mean, this stuff is like long lasting.
I'm pretty sure one of those is the new Polish president, right?
Yeah, the leftist
Poland guy.
Yeah. So here's some of the highlights on here. They call it the Soros Foundation Management Training Program. 3 months of on-the-job and academic training in public administration, business management, banking, and finance. 30 professionals from those 5 countries. The Soros Foundation Management Training Program signed cooperative agreement from the United States Agency and International Development, or USAID. In all 5 countries, USAID-funded projects, banks, companies, branch offices of the foundation themselves, small business, chambers of Congress, and more, database of pre-screened applicants. It's almost like they're making networks, and they're doing it in public. They're doing it out in the open. And this all came from USAID themselves. nothing I see that comes out of this surprises me anymore. Speaking of things that don't surprise me, gentlemen, I remember the left was a lot more competent. I mean, I don't it's like, what's the point if the left is this stupid? If we ever lose another fucking election ever again, we should just tap out. These people are fucking morons. I present this example here. This is the Democrats on.
Let me
X.
find the newest example of this, by the way. After you read this, they did a weird double down today.
Newly released emails show Jeffrey Epstein thought Trump was one of the worst people he knew and not one decent cell in his body. Yeah, it's because he couldn't fucking corrupt him.
I think Trump was one of the informants on. I think that's what's going to eventually come out. Is Trump was one of the people who actually.
It didn't come out that it was true, but it came out in the emails that Epstein thought he was an informant against him.
Yeah. No. Well,
Trump with one word.
Here we go.
Dangerous. Yeah, dangerous to Epstein.
Here's our double down today.
What does it say?
Epstein may have been this is from Occupy Democrats, and it says Epstein may have been an evil predator, but he was a perceptive judge of character.
So the guy who's a complete piece of shit doesn't like somebody, that makes that person a bad person or a good person? Because I would think it's the opposite. If he was best friends with them, then that would be a problem.
If dislikes you, you're probably my kind of people.
Well, when the Democrats are basically saying, listen, the enemy of my enemy is really my friend and close ally.
That's not even true, because Jeffrey Epstein is not their enemy.
No, that's what I'm saying. Trump, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. If Epstein was Trump's enemy, therefore he's now our friend.
I personally like Sandy Peterson's take on this. To reuse a quote from Grover Cleveland, we love him for the enemies he has made.
Right.
Right.
Let's see. Epstein said in this email, he said, recall, I've told you, I've met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. So yes, dangerous. Let's see. Just going through here. There was another one that basically said that he knew what was going on because he told Ghislaine to get out or to stop it. Yeah, for her to stop trying to recruit the women who worked at Mar-a-Lago and to stop hitting on minor underage girls at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, to the extent that he knew. I think this is one of those kind of things that I had heard about Jeffrey Epstein going back in the Biden administration. So, I mean, he was a name that was known, and I guess if you're in these circles, you probably had a good idea what the fuck he was doing. So to that extent, yeah, Trump probably knew, but he wasn't taking part in this like all these other people are.
Epstein was known about going all the way back to when Obama was president.
Yeah,
and talked about.
Epstein's been known before that. I mean,
yeah.
Biden, right. I think Scott misspoke when he said Biden, because that wasn't that long ago.
Oh, no, Obama. Thank you. That's who I meant to say. Yeah. Well, it's the third Biden administration, right? Yeah. Or the third Obama administration.
Because that's when all the stuff about Clinton was coming out, about the Lolita Express, the 35 trips on the plane. That's all just been forgotten about now. No one talks about Clinton anymore.
Well, and even Data Republican comments on this one, I think she's that first one underneath the tactical wisdom response there. Says, Democrats yesterday, Jeffrey Epstein was best friends with Trump, and this proves Trump was a bad man. Democrats today, Jeffrey Epstein hated Trump. It proves that Trump is a bad man. Pick a fucking lane.
Listen, you got to read mine, because mine is gold, right?
Epstein is the guy we should trust on this. Spot on. Ace detective work, guys. Yeah, 100%. Bad reviews from bad people are good reviews. That comes from Mike Shelby. I mean, ultimately, they like him because they agree with him. And that's it.
Yeah.
And this goes to that whole kind of this is confirmation bias. It's got to be true. I like it because,
here's the
I'm a pedophile also.
If Jeffrey Epstein was still alive, would you be able to use his testimony in court? Absolutely not, because he's not a believable character, right? He's 100% compromised. He's a known liar and a horrible human being. Nobody would give any evidentiary value to anything Jeffrey Epstein said. So why now? Death does not give him virtue.
Oh, let's see. All right, moving on.
Did you guys see what Megyn Kelly said about Jeffrey Epstein?
No, I didn't. What did she say?
She made a post talking about how Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedophile. He went after barely legal girls.
Oh,
15, 16 isn't barely legal. That's not legal. Barely legal would be 18.
Illegal. Yeah.
This is the pederast argument, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, look, I think in some states, I think until recently, I think some girls were illegal at 16, some were illegal at 15. But I think there was like 1 or 2 states, and I think those are all gone now. Thank God. All right, so this next one I thought was really interesting. This is CNN. This is how much confidence they have in this story. Let's play this clip.
Let me make sure the volume's good. All right.
That mentioned the president, and we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White House,
Tell me how you know you've been sued by Donald Trump recently without saying you've been sued by Donald Trump recently.
Right.
We want to be clear. Trump didn't receive or send any messages. He has not been accused of any wrongdoing with Epstein or Maxwell. They're so petrified of a lawsuit, they're fully exonerating him of any wrongdoing, before any reporting continues.
That's because they already know they're going to be paying a lot of money. They don't want to pay even more.
Oh, fuck no. Well, so you guys know that CNN is part of like Warner Brothers or whatever. And Warner Brothers is undergoing the whole, like, we are being sold to another company or being acquired.
I'll put another one of those in the private chat from Jen Psaki. I don't know if you have it already.
No, go ahead. Put it
it's
in
the
there.
Private chat now. With her going, no, I didn't mean that.
But evidently, like, they're basically going to quarantine all of the toxic assets within Warner Brothers in like a separate company, and they're just basically going to let it die.
They're not
going to put any money.
Media group.
That you got to admit, Trump owning CNN would be pretty fucking funny.
Well, there's 3 companies now vying for Warner Brothers, right? Netflix, Skydance, and Comcast.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I haven't been following it too much like I used to follow that kind of stuff back in the old days, but it's I know there's drama.
Let's be very clear. If Trump owned CNN, it would not be CNN. It would be TNN within seconds.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
It's the Trump News Network, also known as the Total News Network. It's the very best.
Or it'd be the Truth News Network. All right, let's play this video. Let's see what it says. Trump loss.
In supporting what Donald Trump is doing.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are, and we have to remember that.
Whoa, that was a hard stop back up right there.
It's actually too late. It's already been said. She
said it without, and then she's like, "Oh shit,"
I wonder if somebody was yelling in her ear, "Stop, stop, stop."
Yeah, that's the case. Yeah.
Oh my God. Watch her disappear from coverage for the next week or something like that. All right. Enough of that. So basically, Trump has got them running scared. And then finally, this is the last of our domestic disruption topics here. You got thoughts on this? Because when I read this today, I showed a colleague this. I was like, holy shit, this is like something. And ultimately, it's not surprising at all because it makes sense to me that AI will ultimately be a way better hacker than any any human could ever be, especially with the whole bot networks and agents and whatnot. And then, of course, on the other side, AI will be your anti-spam and your security network as well. So it's kind of like AI versus AI and the old cyber.
AI spy versus AI spy. The best
Exactly right.
They're
basically the same. It's the same AI sold to two different people fighting itself.
Well, and unfortunately, it's exactly and literally correct. It is the unfortunate reality of AI, and it's kind of why I have said for a long time that you can't just kill it. Even if you had wide agreement, you'd still have random weirdo individual programmers out there doing it because they believe in it, and you're not going to be able to stop them. The only thing we can do is develop AI tools to be able to spot the AIs doing the bad things. In this case, a Chinese actor basically created a bot to use Claude in order to do programming, in order to carry out attacks against U.S. cyber infrastructure. Crazy stuff. I would submit that this is probably just the first time it's been detected. I doubt this is the first time it's happened.
Yeah. I think that's right. And more specifically, I think people have probably used AI to build malware code and then deployed it by a person. But it sounds to me like this was actually deployed by an AI. So let me read this real quick. Anthropic. Let me just open this. I'm opening the link there. Yeah, that one. Disrupting the first reported AI orchestrated cyber espionage campaign. We recently argued that the inflection point had been reached in cybersecurity, a point in which AI models have become generally useful for cybersecurity operations, both good and ill. This was based on a systematic evaluation of showing cyber capabilities doubling in 6 months. We're also tracking real-world cyber attacks, observing how malicious actors are using AI capabilities. While we predict these capabilities could continue to evolve, what has stood out is how quickly they have done so at scale. In mid-September 2025, we detected a suspicious activity that later investigation determined to be highly sophisticated espionage campaign. The attackers used AI agentic capabilities to an unprecedented degree, using AI not just as an advisor, but to execute the cyber attacks themselves. So the threat actor, whom we assess as a high confidence as a Chinese state-sponsored group, manipulated our Claude code tool into attempting infiltration into roughly 30 global targets and succeeded in a small number of cases. The operation targeted large tech companies, financial institutions, chemical manufacturing companies, government agencies. We believe this is the first documented case of a large-scale cyber attack executed without substantial human intervention. Upon detecting this activity, we immediately launched an investigation to understand the scope and the nature. Over the following 10 days, as we mapped the severity and full extent of the operation, we banned accounts as they were identified, notifying affected entities as appropriate, and coordinated with authorities as we gathered actionable intelligence. This campaign has substantial implications for cybersecurity in the age of AI agents. Systems can be run autonomously for long periods of time and complete complex tasks largely independent of human intervention. AI agents are valuable for everyday work and productivity, but in the wrong hands, they can substantially increase the viability of large-scale cyber attack. These attacks are likely only to grow in their effectiveness to keep pace with this rapidly advancing threat. We've expanded our detection capabilities. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. Basically, they don't know exactly what people are doing in these agentic workflows because there's so many people using their product. But when they detect something, then they can search through it, find it, and basically find out exactly what people did. But because they store everything you do. If you didn't know that, it would make sense that everybody knows that. But yeah, okay. Wait until AI creates its own language we can't understand. Oh, that's already happened.
Yeah, that happens near
like a year
instantaneously. Not a year ago. That happened with like some of the very first AI agents. As soon as you tell two AIs to start talking to each other,
they create their own language to speak.
Yeah, because English is a lot is
highly highly inefficient. And very lossy.
Yeah, lossy. Joe, you didn't just lose your white monster, did you?
It might have sounded a lot like an AK magazine, but I'm sure it wasn't.
By the way, somebody in the chat way back when we were talking about the Mountain Dew mentioned something about some sort of snack based on white monsters.
Yeah, I saw that. Some sort of a drink, Americano.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It was like a coffee. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's coffee. I'm gonna skip it.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee guy, so all right.
I drink it every now and then, but I'm not gonna seek out some $7 concoction.
Yeah, just because it has white monster in it.
Yeah.
Penis Chase Helicopters for $2 says AI orchestrated. Is this leftist Luddites fear mongering trying to protect their human jobs? The law is the law, but they fear AI judges following the law.
No, we don't need AI judges ever. The entire point of judges is having a human element to your case, so that would be silly. Where was the comment down here? The great one is from Rick, Duke of Malta, off the top ropes with, "Sorry, Dave, I can't do that." If you don't know the movie reference, you should watch that movie because it's all about AI and the risk of it to humans.
All right. Moving on. Trade malpractice. Joe, one of the things we've talked about as a long-term kind of thread on this program has been just the lack of the country has just not taken seriously the strategic industrial capability. We talked about steel production in the United States. We've talked about various other metals and aluminum, and having to get like these critical functions from other countries. But I'm trying to turn my camera back on, but for whatever reason, it's not coming back on. What the fuck is going on? All right. There we go. That should work. There we go. Anyway, so the whole point of we've basically offshored all these kind of critical things. Well, one of the things we talked about a lot in the last year or so has been the rare earths, and China basically having us by the short and curlies because we've got these, so I think I talked about it the other day, but it's basically 3 stages, right? It's extraction from the ground, it's processing into oxides, and then it is use in technology, right? So we do 1 and 3 in America, right? But we don't do 2 at all. Like 90% of step 2 is done in China to the point where they will dig up rare earths in America, ship them to China for processing, and then ship them back to America because we don't want the environmental overhead, I guess. Well, so this is why China's kind of shutdown of these rare earth metals recently has been such a kind of a critical thing. Enter in the Trump administration. This is let's just play this video and then we'll comment on this after we've listened to it.
The Department of War. The Pentagon thinks that rare earths are so crucial that they just created a $400 million partnership with MP to lessen and, guys, eventually eliminate our reliance on China. And MP CEO tells me that is happening so fast. Listen.
Within the next 3 years, when we look at the expansion here at Independence, along with the 10X facility that we're bringing online, we will be able to satisfy essentially all of American demand, and we will have removed this issue off the table as a risk for American industry and the American people.
So the 70% of our rare earths that we get from China now will go to 0 in the next 3 years. And how they're doing that is taking this facility now, tripling it in size to accommodate both General Motors and Apple. And when they're done, they're building an entirely new facility for the Pentagon. And because of this private-public partnership, because of this investment, everything that new facility makes, the Pentagon will buy for 10 years, guys.
So, it's kind of like I said the other day. China kind of fucked themselves on this one.
Not really, because guess what kind of workers probably work there? A lot of Chinese Americans, which are Chinese before they are American. So unless you absolutely bar anyone of Chinese descent from working there, you're going to have sabotage, you're going to have work slowdown, you're going to have industrial espionage that targets this facility. The other thing that I want to point out is every time I hear public-private partnership, I hear the word socialism. And she said it in there a couple of times. So anyway.
Let me ask you a question. Like I think of means of production, right? Like, and so like, you know, if I just guarantee, I mean, I'm just trying to, I don't know that I have a problem with this type of private partnership. I
said that I hear the word socialism.
Yeah, I know. I just don't
want to believe.
No, I just don't know what else we can do, though, is what I'm saying. Is like, because I think that's a valid criticism, and I agree with you. I'm just trying to think of another way we could do it without that. You know what I mean?
It's the same as us owning 10% of Intel and then 10% of all these other tech companies. The government shouldn't own part of any of these things.
Jim, what do you think?
100% right.
Yeah, government should not be owning anything of any corporation. That's for sure. It's not. That's actually fascism. Government's owning.
It is more fascist. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to seem overly dramatic.
No, but I mean it is. That's what they did. They took over all the businesses and got basically control of them and owned pieces of them and had certain people take them over and
Jay Clark raises the same point we made earlier. Public-private partnership equals socialism. Ways to work around the Constitution, like the flock cameras. Exactly the same thing. The governments pay the money and give Flock the space for the cameras.
Yeah.
And then Flock stores the data to violate the Constitution intentionally.
I mean, people always forget that if you look at the heart of all these fascist governments that actually existed, in Italy and in Germany, they were socialist governments at their heart of them.
Well, yeah,
I think
national socialism, right?
Yeah. But Mussolini was too. He was a socialist, but he was also a fascist. I mean, it was like we're going to be a socialist, but we're going
to. Just to kind of clarify here on the socialism versus.
Well,
the Roosevelt administration was a huge fan of Mussolini until
Hitler,
until he wasn't very popular. 36 kind of like they were just kind of like ceasefire on saying nice things about Hitler and
okay, we don't like Hitler and Mussolini anymore, but really like this new guy Joe over there.
Joe Stalin. We can work with him. He's a partner we can trust. You guys though, I think you guys will agree with me that these are areas that we need to kind of shore up, but you're always in that kind of sticky wicket, right? I mean, this is something that we need, but at the same time, it's hard to do it without.
Not a sticky wicket. It's not a sticky wicket. Either they can afford it or not without government intervention.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when China comes in and basically does it under cost without any international.
Because China exists, socialism is okay in this particular regard.
No. I what I'm saying is what I'm going to do is. I said, no, I didn't say socialism was okay because China exists. I say, so China sets up a situation in which, hey, listen, we'll do all this stuff for you because we'll do it at like pennies on the dollar, right?
This is a
and you're like, oh, well, this is a good deal. And
principles because of someone else.
No. Joe, what I'm doing is I'm setting it up and I'm going to throw it to you to kind of then finish the sentence, right? So this is the situation, right? So, and then governments in the United States in the past basically say, okay, let's do that. Let's have China do all of our rare earth minerals. What can go wrong here, right? And that's essentially what the previous governments allowed to happen. And so they then lose that entire strategic asset within the control of the U.S. And it's not even in like, say, Australia or Sweden or someplace like that, like some of our steel production is. It goes to China, right? So what do you think? What do you think we should do? If we clearly socialism is a bad thing, what do you think we should do? I'm asking here. I don't have the answer. I'm like I said, I'm stuck between one sounds bad, but the other sounds bad too. So I don't know what the answer is. What's that?
If you're going to ask, you have to eventually let me answer. You've asked like 4 times and never gave me a chance.
No. I'm just illustrating my point because I'm very frustrated by this problem.
Okay. Rather than that company partnering with the government to do it, why couldn't they form a conglomeration of other companies and pool funding to make that happen? Why does it have to be the government? That's my point.
Yeah. So if they were competing against another company that was playing fair,
they wouldn't be competing. They would be partnering, working together.
No. I'm saying they're competing against China, right? China is the other competitor in the market, right?
Okay. In other words, you don't want to hear my answer. You just want to argue your point, and that's fine.
You gave me your answer, which was compete, kind of working with other companies to do a better job and to make it more efficient and to pool the resources, right? So you don't need the government money. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I got that answer. I understand that. So now I'm going to retort, right?
I'm wrong. I got you.
No, my retort is this, right? Is that if China is basically saying it cost us $1,000 to do something, but we're going to charge you $100, so we're willing to take a 90% bath on this, which is when you do that in selling, it's called dumping, right? And it's an illegal trade practice. When they do that, right, how can our companies compete against that?
By working together. Listen,
I got it. I hear what you're saying. I just don't understand how it works.
Not the answer, Scott.
Say again.
Are you familiar with Nikita Khrushchev?
No. Don't insult me. Just say I didn't hear what you
You're
said
because me. I don't understand why it's okay for one.
I'm not asking you if you know who Nikita Khrushchev is. You know I know who he is.
I didn't ask you if you know who he was. You're not listening to me.
You said, "Do you know who Nikita Khrushchev is?"
You know what he said about America and socialism.
We're stepping on each other. That's why I can't hear you, because there's a delay. There's a slight delay, and so you're still talking when I'm talking. So, I guess.
Joe.
No, I'm just saying we're actually trying to talk very close to each other, so it's hard for me to hear you because I'm not hearing you. So here's my question. Right? I don't know what the answer is because I think us not having this is bad, but at the same time, our private companies can't compete with a national entity that wants to basically deprive us of this, right? The only thing I can think of that would be an alternative, and hear me out on this one. The only thing I could think of as an alternative would just be to ban any use of Chinese supply, basically like a embargo of any Chinese supply rare earth metals, which is what I think Trump has tried to do, but I don't know that would work. He's done the whole tariff thing, but what do you think?
This is me waiting because you said I was talking too soon. I think Nikita Khrushchev said that America, they wouldn't have to fire a shot to take over America. America would do it to themselves and become socialist all by themselves. And this idea of we're getting beaten by the socialists, so we have to out-socialism the socialists, is not a winning strategy. I think that the tariff, like you just said, banning the purchase of it is a way to go. But also, having companies work together to try and form some sort of a business practice that enables them to reduce their costs in the initial outlay would bring the cost down over time. Sure, it's going to cost more to buy things here in America. Everything you buy made in America costs more than it being made elsewhere. That's just a fact of doing business. It's the same with T-shirts as it is with rare earth materials, minerals. It's not any different. But is that price worth being borne? Absolutely, I think. More so than changing our entire system of government and our entire way of life just to beat the Chinese.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying. It's just one of those kind of things. Like the market kind of doesn't respond that way, right? The market just goes where things are cheapest, and unless we ban it, and we were encouraging China to do trade, 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
It even goes to what they're doing with bringing the people in to do the work here. Like they raided that factory in Georgia, got the people, the Koreans out, and they brought them right back. Brought them back to do the work. We don't have any electricians in the U.S., I guess, that can actually build a plant.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's this is a lot of stuff that is complicated, and it's kind of like I'm stuck between two things. Like I emotionally agree with all of you guys. Like as far as the anti-socialism, government shouldn't have any. Like I agree, we should not own Intel. But if the government is, I guess the right way to do this would be the government to say, hey, we want to buy a stockpile of this stuff, but we will only buy it from an American company. Well, no American company exists. All right, well, we will give you 10 years of business buying these things from you. Kind of like a tank factory. It's like a tank factory.
Well,
right?
prior to the closing of Springfield Armory existed and manufactured the weapons that were used by the U.S. government. No.
Well, like Lima, Ohio, right, is a perfect example, right? It's the only place in America that makes big tanks, right? Like M1 tanks and all this kind of stuff, right? It is a private company, but its only customer is the United States government, and other governments selling through foreign sales and things like that. I guess that would be the model that I would lean on. Hey, we're willing to buy this, but it has to be very compliant, right? Joe, how like all the U.S. gear has to be made in the U.S. For military gear. So if this is like all of the rare earths have to be processed, extracted from the U.S., that would be a law that would force that activity to occur within the U.S. And then you would guarantee the investment by guaranteeing some long lead time.
But they can't all be sourced here. They can all be processed here. That would be the difference, because some rare earth minerals are not found here.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, it's so the processing piece is, I think, really what we're talking about, because that's ultimately most of the rare earths can be found here. Maybe not as in a high quality or higher quantity, but yeah, 100%. Anyway, I mean, guys, I was not trying to insult anybody. I think we were just speaking over top of each other, Joe, and I think that's why it was hard for us to hear each other. I got no issue with your guys' opinions on this. I kind of agree with you, but like I said, I'm still, I see a problem, and ultimately we need to come up with a solution. And nobody in the last 30 years has been able to solve this problem. So,
well, the problem is offshoring all the manufacturing out of the country. That's what caused this.
And the government encouraged
it. Yeah, the government encouraged it because they got paid. They're still getting paid. People got their 10% from the big guy. Everything that happened. Both sides. It's not a one side thing. It's both sides. But I mean, because what happens? It's the same thing. If the government starts owning pieces of companies, you'll get the same results of the government unions, where you now have people that are working together. They're doing this, and one hand washes the other, and.
Yeah, the only thing that I could even make an oblique argument to, and it's still a slippery slope, is to say like, well, I guess the government could buy the entire market, like an index fund or something like that, where it's not buying one company, it's buying like a little piece of every company. But even then, I still have problems going back to, you guys were talking about the fascist thing. The big thing about fascism was. Well, the big thing about fascism was that the government basically would say, you will do this. It was a government directed, and it's like, you will compete. Porsche, you'll make a tank, and Krupp, you'll make a tank, and we'll pick the best one, and then you'll both make that tank, right? That's that kind of fascist, government-private partnership.
Do you think that there's a very long road between those two?
No, I don't. That's why I said I that's the only thing that I could even think of that would be even be close.
What if it was what if it was like Facebook, let's say, and the government was telling Facebook to take people's posts off, and they owned a piece of the company?
Well, I mean, what are you talking about? They didn't even own the company. They were telling Facebook to take it off. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if they owned a piece, there would be zero pushback.
Yeah. All right, I think we can all agree the government owning companies is a bad idea.
But then again, if the government owns something, isn't it us that own it because it's our money? I don't know. One of them things. It's like,
well, like I said,
because they're not going to give you any benefit from it.
Yeah,
Well, if they
like
use
I
Social
said-
Security, let's say, if
I'm
they
going to
invest in
give
Social
you
Security into companies, I don't know.
$2,000 of your own money back. And we're all like, yes, Trump's giving us $2,000 of our own money back. How about you don't take it in the first place? Aha.
Well, the thing that I was kind of getting to, Jim, just to kind of backstop what you were saying, is that like the Social Security Trust Fund, like what assets does it own to kind of guarantee?
It owns a bunch of IOUs from the government. That's all it owns.
Right. That's exactly right. If they had actually bought the T-bills, or if God forbid they had bought the fucking an index fund, there would actually be money in the account. But then again, then you get the whole government participation, in the private market. You can't have that
Let me
because
say something unpopular here.
It's corrupting.
Social Security was the first step on the terrible road we're on right now.
Oh, it wasn't the first step, but it was probably the worst step.
The first step was the Federal Reserve.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Either that or the income tax was the first.
Well, those two kind of went hand in hand.
Voluntary and temporary. You know that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot about that, Joe. Thanks for reminding me.
It's like a whole bunch of bad things that happened right there in that decade, from 1910 to 1920.
And then you got the Great Society just kept the train fucking rolling right after the FDR bullshit. So I mean, all right, let's move on.
What I'm hearing, Scott, is you saying repeal the 19th Amendment, right? That's what you're saying.
There's a lot of amendments that we need to repeal amongst the 19th. UAE-based DP World takes control of Syria's Tartus port for an $800 million deal. Joe, everywhere we go, we see this DP World taking over ports. It seems like there is a concerted effort to turn Syria into a Munty printing factory. I think when you look behind the curtain as to why Jelani got all that kind of, hey, he's a good guy backslapping coming into the Oval Office and everything like that. I think ultimately it goes to this kind of stuff. They want to fucking squeeze Syria for all it's fucking worth. And they're basically guarantee, hey, listen, if you let us do this, we're going to fucking fill your pockets. So when you finally decide to go back to wherever the is you fucking came from, you won't be poor when you get there. That being said, I think Jelani's fucking taken to the bank because he's going to use that money to go into the next generation of his jihad. But that's just my thoughts. I think we're building Qatar 2.0 is essentially what we're building.
If ever there was a place where I would be in support of DP World holding one, it's Tartus, because Latakia is immediately adjacent. And this at least gives us some chip to play in that region.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
But Dubai Ports World owns way too many. And I can remember when we tried to give them Long Beach and New York, right? Absolutely horrible idea. UAE is not entirely our friend. They're more so than Qatar, but not at their heart, right?
Well, ultimately, if you give them all the benefit of the doubt, they are still entirely self-interested.
Yes.
And the only thing worse than the United States government owning a piece of a private company is another government from outside the United States owning a piece of a U.S. private company. And so that's what you would have had with the Port of Long Beach. DP World officially commenced operations on Wednesday, months after signing a 30-year concession agreement worth $800 million with Syria's General Authority for Land and Seaports. The deal is described as one of the largest global investments in Syria's logistics sector in years. Well, probably the only global investment in Syria in years. It aims to turn the port into an efficient trading hub. We are committed to applying DP World's global expertise to build a modern and digitally enabled port that will grow trade, create opportunities, and firmly position Tartus as a key trade hub in the Eastern Mediterranean.
What else do they have to trade from Syria other than oil? Olives?
Drugs, I think.
Drugs, dates, figs. I don't know.
Sand. I mean, oil is the only thing I can think of.
Who's going to be the brave one to go to dpworld.com? No, I don't think that's going to take you anywhere you want to go. You will probably find Djibouti there, but that's about it.
That's half of what you'll find there.
Low Key Larp nailed it. Their export is terrorism.
Yes.
We might as well put the empty containers right on the shore where ISIS is at. So great call.
Yeah. All right. Damascus says the deal. Let's see. In June, Syria's government annulled a 2019 agreement between Assad's administration and the Russian company Storytransgaz to manage Tartus. Damascus says the deal was terminated due to the Russian company breaching its contract, including failing to invest a promised $500 million. Yeah, you think? The government led by Assad said the statement at the time was previous deal was unfair to Syrian sovereignty. Well, as the DP world is not unfair to Syrian sovereignty.
Never mind.
What's that?
It wasn't said by Assad. It was said by Al-Jalani.
Oh, yeah.
I refuse to call him that other name that's on the screen. His name is
Al-Jalani. Yeah. Yes, Joe is referring to his, his Christian name.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I gotta go.
All right, Jim. Hey, if you haven't done it already, give him a sub on his channel. Where can they find you again? Jim tells
you on YouTube, on Rumble, on Twitch, on Kick, on Facebook, on Instagram.
Kick? Well,
yes, I don't know. I tried on TikTok too. TikTok sucks, man. They keep taking videos down. Basically, any type, like all these videos just keep getting knocked off of TikTok. It's crazy that they're fine on YouTube, which I don't get it.
That's because you're not a CCP supporter.
Yes.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming by. Thank you for defending the Constitution.
Hey, no problem, buddies. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Later. All right. In June, U.S. President Donald Trump issued an executive order lifting sanctions against Syria to support the country's reconstruction. Like I said, I think there are a lot of people who want to get rich off of Syria, and I have no idea what Trump's 4D chest on this fucking thing is, but I don't buy it. That's generally my kind of opinion. Anything else on that, gentlemen?
No.
Speaking of oil in the Middle East, or oil prices soar after Ukraine strike on major Russian export hub. Now, I don't know if they have really soared. They have gone up. Oil prices jumped in early Asian trade on Friday morning as markets responded to the renewed Ukrainian attacks on Russia's oil industry. Ukrainian drone attack hit the Russian Black Sea port of Novorossiysk. One of the country's most significant oil export hubs, triggered renewed fears of supply disruptions. I don't think that they actually export that much through there anymore. I think most of their exporting is happening in the Baltic and up in the Far East. If I remember my last deep dive on this. So the price of oil went, it went from 58.50 to 60.30. So that it's not what you'd call a massive swing, but it definitely ticked up. The attacks damaged a ship, nearby apartment buildings, and an oil depot, injuring 3 crew members. Ukrainian forces have increasingly targeted oil refining, storage, and export infrastructure using drones and missiles.
Can I interject for a second?
Yep,
I was reading stories this morning in prep for our show, and this one paints the Ukrainian attack again as brave and targeting things.
Brave.
Notice it says nearby apartment buildings in there as well.
Yep,
There's another story about the attack on the Ukraine last night by Russia in response to this. And it was how horrible and evil it was because it damaged ships, apartment buildings, oil depots, energy infrastructure. So it's good when one side does it and evil when the other does. That kid is called propaganda.
Yeah. Yep. That's 100% correct. And, it's like if you just treated them all the same and said one side attacked and the other side attacked, then it would be okay. It's not like we're trying to lionize Russia here. They're both attacking each other. They are essentially equivalent. Now, you may not like both sides, but they're doing the same fucking thing to each other.
They're doing the exact same thing. It's called war. It's what's done in war.
It's what is done in war. Anyway, so let me continue on here. The intensity of these attacks has increased. It's much more often. Eventually, they could hit something that causes lasting disruption. If Ukraine continues to press the deep strike campaign, Russia faces rolling or compounding infrastructure loss. The supply risk to global oil markets could rise meaningfully. Russian oil supply is being further suppressed by renewed U.S. sanctions, most notably new restrictions on Russian oil majors Rosneft and Lukoil. Effective November 21st, prohibiting transactions with companies as Washington increases pressure on Moscow. Now, the interesting thing that I've seen with the Russian oil market here lately, Joe, is the Trump administration evidently is getting more successful in pressuring India from buying Russian oil. I think all this does is just makes China's oil cheaper, but it definitely will take money out of Russia's pockets. I think the other side of that is that we have promised to make up the difference with U.S. oil exports, and I just don't know if we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Without Chinese cross-shipment tankers, I don't know. But with the Chinese cross-shipment tankers, you might be able to make it up.
Yeah. Well, I get a feeling that U.S. oil is going to get mixed with some Russian oil, and then all of a sudden it's going to turn into U.S. oil and magic.
Yeah, and if only there was a place with massive oil reserves that Operation Southern Spear was about to target. And then all of a sudden we'll get a whole bunch more oil.
Well, people close to the White House have said that the White House does not want to attack Venezuela, Joe. Just so you know, they don't want to do it. You know, they moved 1/4 of the entire Navy into the Caribbean to not do it. So, I guess we just had another tanker seized by the IRGC in the Gulf of Oman. Speaking of oil,
did that happen today or?
Yeah. It's let's see. I'll share the link here in the private chat. Marshall Island flagged oil tanker MT Talara was ambushed and seized this morning by the IRGC in the Gulf of Oman after departing earlier at the port of Abjaman in the United Arab Emirates for a short journey to Singapore. The British Maritime Risk Management Group Vanguard reported that Talara was surrounded by 3 fast boats with the IRGC near the Strait of Hormuz, roughly 20 nautical miles from the coast of the UAE before contact was lost with the tanker, and it deviated course heading in the direction of Iran.
The short journey to Singapore. It is not a short journey to Singapore from anywhere but Indonesia. But okay. That is interesting. I didn't know about this one yet. I wonder if there's been any maritime dispute on that ship between them, and a lot of these are vaguely legal because there was some sort of international court thing going back and forth. So let's see. According to marine traffic, where does it say that Talara is right now?
They may have just turned off that transponder, right?
No transponder changed in the last 7 hours and 29 minutes. So she is going 11.6 knots, though, and a course of 339. So she is headed for Iran.
Yeah, heading for Iran.
Hold on. How much does she haul? Does it say Class A? It doesn't say how much she holds, but a lot.
A lot. Holds a lot. All right. Gentlemen. Anything else, Watcher? We haven't heard too much from you today. What's going on?
Well, not much, man. Just watching stuff go by. As far as stuff to look out for this weekend, I would watch for some interesting panic reactions from the leftists. Last time The leftists were made to feel panicky. The ones that were closest to the edge decided it was time to ambush an ICE facility in Texas. So,
yeah, right.
Look out for that.
Yeah, so we haven't seen a whole lot. I mean, I haven't been monitoring Portland lately. You know, we haven't really seen a whole lot out of Antifa lately. I get the feeling, Joe, maybe they're actually kind of like, you know, oh shit, maybe we fucked up this time, and they're starting to lay low a little bit. At least the more professional ones. What's your kind of take on that?
My take on, I'm sorry, I was reading Be Prepared's silly comment about a C-130.
The Antifa, recent Antifa activity has been noticeably down.
Right. Except for the bombing in Las Vegas yesterday. And I think that there's a reason why the Las Vegas Metro PD, who is a very liberal police department, is keeping that under wraps. So I think that Antifa is doing exactly what we've predicted for a long time. Smaller numbers, but more violent. So there have been a lot of bombings that have gone on, or suspicious enough circumstances that I would attribute them probably to Antifa or organized leftist activity in some way, like the explosion in Brooklyn of a vehicle. Vehicles don't frequently just explode. Movies to the contrary, right? They do in the movies, but not in real life. It's actually pretty hard to make a car explode. But one happened in, I guess it was the Bronx, not Brooklyn, the other day. Then we have this bombing in Las Vegas that they want you to think was just no big deal. All is cool. I guess you're right, is what I'm saying. More professional, more serious attacks than the casual things that have gone on.
Right. Well, I think the thing about the professional attacks is that they happen and then they're gone. It's like these people aren't hanging around and letting their faces being captured or their, you know, it's like, so there is no, like, we don't know that a professional attack is necessarily done by Antifa unless they leave some sort of a tag or if it's a very signature kind of victim or something along those lines. But I think, Joe, your guess that this bombing was Antifa, I think, is spot on. This is exactly what, because I get the feeling that the one thing that we may have done is we may have driven them underground, but also driven them to escalate, you know, and to accelerate. So,
well, and if you look at all of their recent releases and their recent conference calls that have been intercepted, especially by Shelby and his team, they point out that protesting isn't working and it's time for something more violent and more drastic. And I think that's what you're seeing. There's a reason why this PAO mentioned that both of the men who planted this bomb were dressed all in black. He was trying to tell you something that his department won't let him say. Right.
Yeah. It's like we think it, but we don't know it kind of
exactly
thing.
Right. I'm not allowed to say this, but this is who this was. So I think it's going to be an interesting winter.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. Any kind of upcoming things, Joe, that you think we might see here in over the weekend?
I do. So today is Friday, and they usually make these big things happen on Friday, so have the whole weekend to develop spin. And it's not a mistake or coincidence that last night Pete Hegseth announced Operation Southern Spear, but he gave literally no specifics, right? And it said that the president asked for action and we're giving it to him. Watch something big happen in the Caribbean this weekend.
Okay. Yeah. It's like we felt it coming for a while. I think the key piece was the Gerald Ford getting in place. And that was yesterday.
It had to outweigh the hurricane. And I think here's the thing: they learned from Provide Comfort or whatever was it a Guardian? What was that one? What was a stupid Guardian one? Prosperity Guardian. Prosperity Guardian that you can't just announce an operation and then do nothing, right? So they're probably going to make something happen for sure. So watch for something kinetic between us and Venezuela.
I think it's a good call. Watch, you kind of already gave your anything else you want to mention?
Nope.
All right. You had your say. All right,
Yeah.
here we go. Gentlemen, that's all I got for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I want to thank Jim for coming by and hanging out with us for a little bit today. It's always good to have a different voice on the panel, so appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed to him, go do that. If you haven't subscribed to us, I don't know what the hell are you even doing here, right? Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, ring the bell for notification. Let your buddies know that you're getting good stuff over here on the Council of Future Conflict. As always, thank you to Joe and Watcher and Jim. Chat, you guys are killing it. We will be back on Monday at the same time. And until then, you guys stay safe.